Hey everybody, welcome back to Crypt Finder and my ongoing series here where I'm delving into the very eerie world of made-for-TV movies, and I've got quite a classic for you tonight. From 1989, it is The Woman in Black. This is a chilling adaptation of Susan Hill's 1983 ghost story. This actually went on to become a very long-running stage show. It actually ran from 1987 to 2023, and it's probably still being produced every minute. But there was also an adaptation from Hammer Studios, a big screen film in 2012 starring Daniel Radcliffe. But I think that this one, the made-for-TV movie from 1989, this is the one that really continues to deliver the nightmare fuel. This was directed by Herbert Wise, and he really, I think, leans into the atmospheric tension and the subtle and sometimes not so subtle scares. We are right here in the midst of the winter holidays, by the way, and I'm sure that lots of people will be out celebrating. They'll be visiting family and friends. So I wanted to try to get this video done. I wanted to do it sort of kind of close to when the original film aired, which was December 24th, 1989, 36 years ago. But this will probably be my last video of the year, so I'll be able to catch you all in the new year. In The Woman in Black, Adrian Rawlings stars as Arthur Kidd. If Rawlings looks familiar to you, okay, yeah, he probably should. He actually plays James Potter, Harry's dad, in the Harry Potter series of films, which ran from 2001 to 2011. Here he plays a young and ambitious solicitor dispatched to a secluded English coastal town to oversee the affairs of the recently deceased Alice Drablow. Tasked with sorting through her papers and estate, Kidd arrives at the eerie and isolated Eel Marsh house. It's a decaying old mansion just shrouded in fog and mystery. And to make things even more isolating, yeah, once you're there and the tides start to come in, it covers over the causeway and there is no way back to the mainland until all of the tides recede back out. So yeah, you're kind of trapped. As Arthur begins his work, he quickly realizes that Eel Marsh House is no ordinary residence. The house itself seems to kind of pulse with a malevolent presence, and the townspeople are very tight-lipped and fearful, and they offer little guidance and even less hospitality. There's only one local landowner named Sam Tuvey who kind of feels like he needs to take Arthur under his wing and basically say, "Don't spend too long in that house." Unperturbed, Arthur presses on, but just like another proper English solicitor named Jonathan Harker, who went into the wilds of Transylvania, yes, Arthur Kidd decides to ignore all the local superstition and press on. Haunting visions of a spectral woman dressed all in black began to plague him. Her presence is chilling, her intentions clearly sinister. As Arthur delves deeper into the secrets of Eel Marsh House, he uncovers a really tragic history of loss and vengeance that binds this ghostly woman to the estate. And the more he learns, the more he is drawn into a web of supernatural retribution, because when this spectral figure appears, it usually means someone is about to die. Arthur's rational world crumbles as he confronts this terrifying reality that the past is far from dead, and some secrets, yeah, they should probably stay buried. As the haunting intensifies, Kidd is faced with a harrowing choice: either escape with his life or stay and face the wrath of the Woman in Black. Unlike a lot of other horror films that rely on sort of shock value, this 1989 movie adaptation really excels in creating a haunting atmosphere through its quiet, deliberate pacing. The desolate setting, combined with the eerie sounds of a horse and ghostly whispers and a child screaming as he drowns out in the marsh, adds just a layer of dread. The script here was penned by Nigel Neal, and it's not a faithful adaptation of the novel or the stage play, but it still really stands solid in its own right. Neal was famous for his Quatermass films, but he also wrote a fascinating series that many people are just not aware of anymore. It's called Beast. It aired in the UK in 1976. It consisted of 6 standalone episodes that either are about a creature or the implications of a creature in a way just not maybe how you're imagining. If you like British TV series from the 70s and you haven't heard of this horror anthology series, might be worth checking out. Horror might be too strong of a word. Let's just say they are all very inventive episodes that flirt more with the idea of psychological thrills, or some skirt the edges of the supernatural, as in the former maybe kind of like the emotional manifestation of a creature, and in the latter, more like think along the lines of maybe the spirit or ghost of a particular animal. Yes, I'm trying to be super vague. I don't want to tell you too much, just enough to kind of whet your appetite if this seems like something that might be up your alley. Okay, sorry for that major distraction. I just drove us on off down a side road. Nobody stopped me. Okay, so let's get back to The Woman in Black. So this film does a great job. It's just masterful in using the very isolated coastal location, the creepy, decrepit Eel Marsh house. The setting actually sort of becomes a character in its own right, enhancing the sense of isolation and foreboding. The Woman in Black herself is not always actively menacing, and yet her very presence and the sort of threatening aura that is all around her is quite chilling. This 1989 TV adaptation remains a real beloved classic among horror fans. It goes old school for the psychological depth and the haunting atmosphere. It has influenced various adaptations, and it really remains kind of a benchmark for ghostly chills in television horror. Adrian Rawlings is great here, and his descent from proper 1920s gentleman driven to the brink of madness is very believable. And Pauline Moran plays the Woman in Black. She's mostly just kind of in the background here and there, but that very eerie, intense stare and this kind of threatening presence that she has, yeah, all of that comes through in spades. The film's sound design also plays a really crucial role in building the tension, the disturbing noises of what's happening in the marsh, and then the unsettling sounds heard within the house really amplify that sense of dread. This film received praise for its ability to create the suspense, its strong performances, the atmospheric tension and psychological depth have earned it a really sort of special place in the pantheon of TV horror. Remember, the British have a long-standing tradition of telling ghost stories on Christmas Eve, so the fact that this movie aired on Christmas Eve of 1989, that's not unusual at all. I guess the true legacy is that it just scared the bejesus out of an entire generation of small children who watched it. Eel Marsh House was brought to life through careful set design and the location choices. The actual house itself is in Stanlake Park in Berkshire. Although the film is set in a fictional coastal village, many of the exterior scenes were shot in and around real-life towns of Hertfordshire and Osea Island in Essex. The film's soundtrack, composed by Carl Davis, also plays a really crucial role. It uses minimalistic, haunting melodies to build suspense. It adds to that quiet, deliberate pacing. The Woman in Black is ideally suited for sort of viewing on a stormy night or Christmas Eve when the lights can be turned down very low. It's a slow burn horror, deliberate pacing again. It just makes it a perfect choice for an immersive kind of chilling viewing experience. So if you're in the mood for a ghost story that relies on atmosphere and psychological terror rather than the jump scares, The Woman in Black from 1989 is just a must-watch. Network actually created this fantastic Blu-ray restoration of it. I mean, it is stunning. It looks like it was filmed yesterday, and only problem is it's region 2. So you would have to have a multi-region free player just to be able to view it, but it is stunning. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for us for right now, everybody. I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful holiday season. Until next time, stay curious and stay scared.